John, this meeting that the president is holding with these students, with these families, with these teachers has been billed as a sort of listening session. So from a policy perspective, what is the president listening for?
I imagine they're going to be going and mentioning the laws that have already been mentioned in public. Those are going to be things like background checks on private transfers, assault weapons bans. I assume those are going to be the two major ones that are going to come up.
And so speaking of the ban on assault weapons, the president has also talked about restricting bump stocks. These are things that make semi-automatic weapons into automatic weapons. He's called for background checks. Are these measures really enough to make reform and make positive change in your mind?
Well, I wish it was as simple as passing some of those laws. You know, you take the background checks on private transfers. There's not one mass public shooting this century that would have been stopped if that law had been in effect. You know, it wouldn't have affected how he got the gun last week, wouldn't have affected any of the ones this year. And so it's never really been obvious to me why we keep pushing for that law in this context. There may be other reasons for having it, but not this. You know, as far as the assault weapons ban, the problem with that is they want to ban guns based on how they look rather than how they function. If you want to ban all semi-automatic guns, which are basically one pull the trigger, one bullet comes out, it reloads itself, then let's talk about banning all semi-automatic guns. Instead, what they've focused on, and they focus on things like the AR-15, which may look like a military weapon, but the inside guts of it are the same as any semi-automatic hunting rifle. So it's not really obvious to me what would be accomplished by banning guns based on how they look versus how they operate.
So there's sort of two general camps when it comes to gun issues here in the United States, and specifically when it comes to school shooting. Those who say that we need to just sort of get rid of all guns. And then there are those who say that, you know, we need to actually arm teachers. We need to arm school administrators. And that would prevent some of the tragedies that we've seen. You are on the side of perhaps arming school officials. Why do you say that, and why would that be a positive move?
Well, because as last week and virtually all the other mass public shootings, they keep on occurring in places where general citizens aren't allowed to defend themselves. If you go and read the diaries and other statements that these killers make, time after time they talk about trying to go to places where they know people don't have a gun and aren't able to defend themselves. They're really very explicit on these things, talking about the fact that the longer it takes for somebody to arrive on the scene with the gun gives them more time to try to go and kill people. You know, it's one thing to have police there, and police are important, but the problem is that if you have somebody in uniform, it's like having somebody with a neon sign above them that says, "Shoot me first."
It's going to be interesting to see what of these aspects the president does discuss when these people come to the White House in just a matter of hours. John Lott, thank you for that, as always. And